Hello, my name is Kiana Hughes, daughter of D. Hughes, aka Wolf Knows VA Loans, at Mortgage Solutions Financial, home of the no minimum credit score VA loan. You heard that right, no minimum credit score. If you or anyone you know is an active duty service member or a veteran, you are eligible for a no minimum credit score VA loan. So please get in contact with my dad, D. Hughes, at 919-946-0423 and apply online at www.valoansbywolf.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Kiki and D show. Here we are, couples and cash. Today is Sunday, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and we are here with the wonderful Perkins family. We are here with Jonathan and Shavana. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Perkins, am I the only person that called you by your last name?
Nah, it's a few other people that call me, but yeah, I appreciate what it do, man. It's like a homage to respect thing, when you say, man.
I know, man. During my military days, we always use last names, but no one ever used Kiki's last name ever. They use her nickname, even in the military. So we're in the Army, and her sergeants, Kiki, only person there. Everyone else is last name. It took a while, but they would call her Kiki all the time. So Perkins, tell us a little bit about, now, we met how long, how many years has it been since we've known each other?
2010? 2011, yeah. Our first time that we've done, yeah.
And you, I think at that time you were Coldwell Banker?
Yes.
Coldwell Banker?
No, at that time, I wasn't even in real estate.
Really?
Yeah, so
and you were getting qualified, or?
I don't know if you had thought about it, because we were still young. We were about to get married, and we decided to look for a home, right? What was it, about 6 months before we got married, and our brother-in-law, his sister had used you. And so we were like, okay, well, yeah, let's use this guy. He seems all right. And I remember we found the short sale home, and this was December, and we were getting married in March. And you told us, you said, oh, y'all better look for somewhere else, because this short sale is going to take a long time. And then back in January, and you called me on the phone, and you said somebody must be living right, because I've never seen a short sale happen this quick. And we moved in March. You didn't start real estate until, I think, 2 years later.
Yeah.
Were you working at Fidelity at that time?
I was working at Credit Suisse.
Okay, there we go. So it started to come back to me, man. This age, man, you start pulling up on 50, things get real. He's having hot flashes and everything else. It's live when you pull up on 50. But now you got been married for how long?
10 years now, this past March.
Wonderful.
But I wanted to go back to what you just said about the real estate. So that really kind of, you guiding us through that process, when it came to our finances, and you encouraging us, to stay on, our budget, making sure that we set goals. And, I think it would be, some investment opportunities for y'all in the future if you kind of stay to your budget. And sure enough, a couple of years, later, once we kind of, got it, I got real estate and started seeing it. And you were kind of a pivotal person in that, really kind of get me, involved, or at least start to do some research, if you will, and looking more into it. But yeah, so I'm sorry, I didn't want to derail, but I wanted to add that note there that you're pivotal in that.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And I think your first strategy was very similar to, I think at that time, we had picked up Landover. No, we had Brighton. We had put Brighton on a 15-year mortgage. And I think you and I had a number of conversations about that strategy, where you would put your investment property on a 15-year mortgage.
Right.
So that by the time you get close to retirement, that property is paid in full, and it's in fueling the 15-year mortgage on the next property that you purchase. Yes, and you wound up now. Tell us about your first And we'll get into other things that we're going to talk about. But tell us about your first investment property. I remember the deal.
Yeah.
But tell us about it.
So ironically, our first investment property was the house that you helped us buy. And we were in the process, you know, it had got pretty congested in the area. We had kind of outgrown the house, if you will, so we were looking for other opportunities to transition. And so, you know, I kind of threw the suggestion out there. I was like, why don't we, you know, rent this house out, you know, when we buy the next one? And of course, you know, Devonna, her background being an accountant, he was like, you just saying this. I need to see, you know, how this thing is going to work out. And so, of course, you know, I gave you a call and, you know, we set up some time and we sat down and literally went through everything as far as, you know, how much money we need to have in reserves. You know, what's the ideal kind of occupancy that, you know, rate that we should have, and just the whole nine. And so that first one, once we were able to buy our house, and then we flipped that one into our first investment property. And I mean, it's been, I don't want to say it's been heaven ever since, but it's been great, you know, having the residual income coming in and knowing, you know, that you're building wealth, that you have an asset, that, you know, this is something that can go add to your portfolio, but then also something that, you know, we're big on is our legacy. Something that, you know, our kids will be able to kind of tap into as well.
Now, I'll say this. And I think it's always good to have both in a relationship. He's the risk taker. I'm the one that's always kind of pulling back, like, let's not do this. Let's save this. But I think it's a really good balance, because sometimes you really need those times where you push, but sometimes you need those times where you pull back. And I think help from the Holy Spirit within our relationship helps with that also. But I was absolutely against it. I'm like, no, we are selling this house. We're getting this house. I don't know what you're thinking about doing, friend, but this ain't it. But it worked itself out, and I'm so glad we did.
Hi, my name is D. Hughes, aka Wolf Knows VA Loans at Mortgage Group Financial, home of the no minimum credit score VA loan. I'm calling on all agents, you, the realtors who are on the front line. We're asking you to take the time. Look at all your clients, those who have been turned down by your primary lender. I ask that you give me a call, because here at Mortgage Solutions, we believe our veterans, our active military personnel, deserve a second look.
With it, like he said, he spoke with you. He came to me with this long sheet and was like, well, here's the numbers, and here it calculates over 15 years. And I think our son was 1 at the time, and he's like, well, you know, he'll be ready to, you know, get a car, this, that, and the third, and this is what, you know, the cost of the house will be and stuff. And it really sold me. And, you know, I prayed about it, and I was like, okay, I think this is something good, and we haven't looked back since.
Okay, so that promoted some thought as you were talking. And it made me think about the dynamics between when you said that Perkins was a risk taker and you were somewhat the balance, whereas like you want to look more reserved. And Kiki is the same way. So during the time, you know, with me being a loan officer, we were running hot for about 4 or 5 years. You know, rates were super low. We were running pretty hot. So we were buying and buying and buying. And Kiki was like, hold on, player. You know, I think you pay this off, pay that off, and then she got a little uneasy. And just as you did, Perkins, when you and I sat down, whenever my wife gets uneasy about something as it relates to what we're going to, you know, saving and investing, then I then go back to the table and I just come up with more information, because a lot of times the fear is because you don't know. You know, it's fear of the unknown, right? So I said, well, let me go and get more. And anytime she feels uneasy, I then put more energy into the plan. And then when I put my energy into the plan, and kind of really measure out all the numbers, and I'll go back to Key and say, well, look at this. And I'll go down that line, just as you mentioned that list. And I'm like a nerd, not a nerd, but I'm kind of a junkie when it comes to like relationship stuff. So I've been seeing a lot of content out there about like relationships. Right. And I thought about that when you were talking. I was like, why do people have so much trouble with working together, couples working together? And I think the way you guys did it and the way I think it may be helpful for some other couples. Like, okay, if you have an idea and your wife is like, look, I don't feel that comfortable, it's really fear the unknown. Get more information from other professionals, whether it be literature or someone that's done it already and has proven success, and then go back and say, and because I think your wife will really get behind you. I know you would get behind me. If I show you, like, I have a plan, and here's now, if this, we're gonna do this, and if we do this, these are the different things that could possibly happen. And as a result of those things, if this happened, then this will be our course of action. But if this happens, then this will be our course of action. And if this happens, then this will be our course of action. And this is where I got this information from. You know, what are your thoughts? And we'll bounce that back and forth off of each other and then execute on the plan. So that I guess that could be, I don't know how you would sum that up for someone.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, I do know that when in our relationship, when it comes to, I trust your judgment. And I trust your experience and I trust your know-how, you know, as far as, especially the mortgage piece of it, that hands down, I trust everything. But when it comes to numbers, because I look at numbers too, I still want reassurance, you know, I still want reassurance. So it's not even about, you know, I don't trust.
But then I want to make you feel more comfortable because I don't want you sitting on eggshells the whole time. So just in acknowledging that, I say to myself, okay, well, how can I present this in a way? How can I go get more data so that we're both more comfortable, so that when we hit this, you know, when we get out here, we can with both feet and we're on the same page, right? So I just wanted to put that out there because I don't know if all couples do that, and I don't think we did it well when we first started. We've been married for like 18 years now. You're like a lot better. Yeah, so cool. I thought about it. Yeah. So go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm about to say, no, I think that's a good point because, you know, the way that, you know, we kind of approach it, if you will, you know, we're partners in life, you know, we're married, you know, we're lovers, but also, you know, we're partners in business. And you got to think about, you know, when you're in business, you're accountable to your partners. And so if your partners say, hey, you know, I don't think this is a good deal, you can't just be like, well, we're going to do it anyway. You have to go back and really shore up your base and, you know, provide the facts to show that why this is going to work, or if not, why it's not going to work. So I think at times, especially, you know, in a marriage, in a relationship, especially us men, you know, sometimes we let our ego get in the way when we kind of getting some pushback and we want to try to, you know, railroad them and say, nah, this is how we're going to do it. You know, I'm putting my foot down. But I think at times, you know, we have to have some self-reflection to say, all right, you know, I get what she's saying. It's a valid point. Let me go back. Let me do my work a little bit better and let me present this case better so that way it can be understood better, so that way we can move forward in agreement and both of us be on the same page without any strife or any malice, you know, when it comes to, you know, the goals that we're trying to attain.
And I think what you're saying, because a lot of people think that it's rocket science, but I think what it really comes down to is trust and communication. And without trust and communication, you don't have a plan in place. You don't know what's happening. You don't know how to move forward. But although I was a little afraid or, you know, fearful at the time, at the end of the day, I trust my husband. And so I knew that on purpose, he wouldn't put us in a place that would be detrimental for our family. And like I said, it's trust and communication. Even as we begin talking, and I know we're going to get into the goals, we begin talking about full-time entrepreneurship. He's looking to become a general contractor and as well as a broker. And I said, you know, hey, at the end of the day, both of us want to go full-time with my business and his business. Let's put a plan in place. You know, what you're getting now from your 9 to 5, hey, let's go ahead and take 6 to 9 months of that from your next few transactions. Let's go ahead and put that aside. So at least I know for the next 6 to 9 months, we have a plan in place. If that doesn't work out, you know, this is what we would do, as you said, but we've communicated. I trust that during those 6 to 9 months, he's really going to work on what his passion is, move us forward, as well as to, you know, develop himself and move himself forward. So it's not rocket science when I tell people. It's really down to trust and communication.
And doing the work. And I think, you know, and also you had made me think about something else, and that was your reserve number. Tell me about your reserve number. That is when I ask you, okay, well, how much money do we have to have liquid for reserves for you to feel comfortable for me to purchase? So that way I know I have that much money put to the side. It stays there. So tell me a little about that.
You want me to give that?
You don't have to give the number, but you don't
Well, I came up with that number because I know you have to have liquid.
Right.
You know, and to me, the liquid piece of your family finances is just as important as your retirement or your stocks and bonds, all that stuff. So I came up with that figure because I knew that if something, happened with our rental properties, because it can. It can. You have weird things going on with rental properties. People don't pay rent. You had the epidemic where you had different states or cities, they said, hey, even though you're landlords, we're going to make sure that these tenants, you can't evict them.
Right.
So that means that the funds come out of your pocket.
Right.
So I want to have liquid cash, so that we can have backup for emergency and, just to feel safe and secure. That's my thing. I want to feel safe and secure.
Yeah, you want to be secure. And that's why I had asked the question, because I knew that's what, if I can make her feel, if I can aid in her feeling, you feeling more secure about the situation, then I can go ahead and do what I want to do, which is acquire more properties. Because it can get addicting, you start acquiring properties like, okay, and all you can think about is a positive, like, I got all these people paying rent, right? And it's going to add up to this much money. But, we put a roof on the property recently, and that wasn't too inexpensive. We had to do some ceiling work on the property. And we have a tenant now that is behind on rent. We had to pay a retainer and file eviction. So it isn't, and like the pandemic, if we were to have, if say 50% of our portfolio didn't pay rent because of the pandemic, we still have to pay mortgage, we still have to pay taxes, we still have to pay insurance.
And
maintenance. And we do not have the profit that we would have had to cover expenses of our own. So.
Hello, my name is Kiana Hughes, daughter of D. Hughes, aka Wolf Knows VA Loans, at Mortgage Solutions Financial, home of the no minimum credit score VA loan. You heard that right, no minimum credit score. If you or anyone you know is an active duty service member or a veteran, you are eligible for a no minimum credit score VA loan. So please get in contact with my dad, D. Hughes, at 919-946-0423 and apply online at www.valoansbywolf.com.
Yeah, we definitely had to take that into consideration. Cool. So let's jump into those goals. We did talk about that. So, I'm gonna read out, make sure I don't mess it up. Less than 3% of married couples have set goals for their marriage. Goals are vital unless you have something in mind to work towards, or something in mind to achieve. You won't get far in your marriage. What are your marital goals? And then I think you guys mentioned something before, but and that is taken from a book. That's something that came from a book called After You Say I Do by H. Norman Wright. You can check it out. You can download it on Amazon for like $2 or something like that. So what are some of your marital goals? And we'll share some of ours with you guys. And then tell us a little bit about how real estate investing aids you in achieving those goals. Like just what aspect of real estate investing is conducive to one or two of those goals?
Yeah, so one of the goals was we wanted to be almost, relatively debt-free, apart from our mortgage, if you will. So that way we could use that extra, capital, what have you, to invest in other properties. And we wanted to do that by the time we reached about 35. Well, we're at 35 now, and we're close to kind of meeting that goal. We may need a little bit of time frame on that. But then as well, we wanted to get into full entrepreneurship. by the time we turned 37, we still got, a couple of years left on that one, but we're well on our way. Both of us, been doing, part-time, entrepreneurship, building our brands, building our business, if you will, so that way we can make that transition. And I know personally, for me, when it comes, to the real estate, being debt free again, having that extra, income that's not going towards, paying the car note, paying, revolving debt, paying, this installment, what have you, it would eventually put us closer along and being able to, see, that down payment money for this particular property. And then also, for us, another goal was having a multi-family properties by the time we turned 40. And so we're, again, we're on our way, and I'll let Savannah kind of share her personal goals, but that's stuff that we kind of, again, setting those goals are important, because if you don't have those goals, then you really just kind of just living life and just waiting for things to happen, and what have you. But another part of that is, that's why I started, as Shavonna said, started doing the general contractors, because I knew real estate is going to be a big part of, our portfolio and what we do. Real estate is a passion of mine. And that's something that, when me and you talk, we always talk about real estate, what's going on, what things we kind of put together. But, this year we didn't acquire any properties just because we kind of talked of, I think if we make the investment in ourselves, and I know I'm saying ourselves, me, and making that investment and becoming a general contractor, now that gives us a lot more bandwidth moving forward. Now we're able to build our own properties. Now we're, able to kind of, keep those properties in house, income properties, what have you. And so we kind of cut out, the middleman. But then also when it comes to, maintenance, repairs, different things, again, it keeps that stuff, in-house with, having not to have that additional spend. But, yes, we're paying up front to ourselves, but in the long run, it's going to be more value, more bang for our buck.
Now, that property that you have, I know before you were talking about that first investment property that you put on the 15-year note, right?
Correct.
As it relates to getting debt free, does that piece of investment property play a part in that? Are you looking like pay it off and then have that rent to then cover certain expenses? Or were you planning on pulling cash out of that property to pay off the balance of certain expenses in the future? Or
yeah, so we're actually I think we have 6 years left.
6 or 8.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so, but yeah, so one of the things we was thinking about by the time basically, we'll have complete ownership, the kids will be going off to school. So we want to have that additional cash flow just in case. We're hoping that, they get scholarships, we're hoping that, they kind of get that extra aid, but nonetheless, that's something that we thought about. All right, we're gonna have the cash flow from this property. Now, at that point in time, I think, and this is something that we haven't really been, intentional about, well, we're just thinking about options, having the cash flow to kind of help with. Then we also can sell it, take some of those proceeds to help kind of, fund, some of the kids' education, but then also, roll that back into, to another property. And so that's something that we kind of think, have been thinking of, if you will.
Yes, I mean, you're in a great position. There are a number of options that come to my mind.
Right.
Your children are how old? How old are your children?
6 and 3.
Okay, so 6 and 3. So that means that this property, you have another 12 years before your oldest goes off to college. That means this property has been paid off for 6 years. That means during that time, you could be rolling that entire cash flow into a college fund or just saving and pay for the college up front if they don't get scholarships. So many different options. So that one was so you regret taking advantage of that strategy at this point, right?
Yeah, not at all.
And you, like you said before, you can abandon it, sell the property, or just pull cash out of the property, remortgage it for 30 years, and use that cash to pay the kids and the tenants pay it back. So yes, cool strategy. And then your wife, Shavonna, you're gonna say something.
I'll say two things. I agree with everything he said. I will say one of my goals, which goes back to our kids, is to always have an impact on our kids, whether positive or negative. I just want them to learn. About 2 or 3 years ago, Jonathan came up with 3 terms for our family. When we moved to this new house, we put it on the wall. So as soon as you walk in the door, you see faith, family, and legacy. And that's our values. And if it doesn't align with that, we have to question it. And so my uncle was here, who's a very powerful businessman. He has real estate and all that other stuff. And he asked our 6-year-old, he said, Logan, what do you want to do when you grow up? And Logan immediately said, oh, I want to own a car dealership. He wants to be an entrepreneur. And I know that just didn't come out of nowhere. Probably, God put it in him. I'm not sure if that's going to be the same thing when he's 16, but Logan, and even it touches our heart in school. He's in 1st grade, but in a 2nd grade class, he's like one of the highest scoring when it comes to math. He knows his numbers and he knows his money. And so I know that Logan is special, but Logan sees us. He knows that we have the investment property. He knows that mommy and daddy works. He knows that, I have my business, which is called the Bougie Wealth Group. And so he'll tell people, my mommy is the bougie budget and all this other stuff, but he knows that. And so I want him to be able to learn from everything that we do, the hard stuff, the positive stuff, as well as the negative stuff. So that will be, I know, one of our goals, an additional goal is to just have that impact on our kids. And I don't want to be one of those people who say, because we're entrepreneurs, our kids be entrepreneurs, because I don't feel like everyone has to be an entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, you still need somebody to, manage the property. You still need somebody to, do maintenance, do lawn work. So everyone isn't meant for, entrepreneurship. But I do know that with us and our properties and what we're doing, it's, shedding a light on him. And then I think the next goal, or the last goal I would mention is, I think from marriage perspective, I want my husband to always be my best friend. And I think that comes with the trust, that comes with communication, as we said before. And I know that if we're best friends, we're going to have our good times and our hard times, but like, this is my road dog. Like, we're going to be good and we're going to grow together. And it's funny because I celebrated my birthday last week, my 35th birthday last Saturday. And up until thank you. Up until about September, I was going to Jamaica with some female friends, and with our event coming up the end of October and just some other stuff with the youth ministry and stuff, I thought about it and I said,
Hi, my name is D. Hughes, aka Wolf Knows VA Loan at Mortgage Group Financial, home of the no minimum credit score VA loan. I'm calling on all agents, you, the realtors who are on the front line. We're asking you to take the time. Look at all your clients, those who have been turned down by your primary lender. I ask that you give me a call, because here at Mortgage Solutions, we believe our veterans, our active military personnel, deserve a second look.
Jamaica is probably not the right thing. Let's save that for next March. Like, I'm okay getting in the car with my husband, us chilling for a week, whether we went to DC, we went to Virginia Beach, and people are like, oh, you don't want to go to Jamaica? Like, you okay? And I'm like, no, this is my dog. Like, I felt even better, actually being with my husband, not being rushed, not being, having to be on a schedule and all this other stuff. And that's because he really is my best friend. And I'm okay with saying, you know what? Well, we can go to Jamaica together, forget the girls. Like, I'm still gonna have my girl time, but at the end of the day, this is my dog. And so And so I think for us and for me especially, that's a goal that I think as long as we can keep that going and that be a part of our relationship when it comes to the business side, that will do nothing but help fill that part as well.
Yeah, and I want to kind of piggyback off of that real quick, not to interject, but you had told us we had went to one of your financial planning seminars, and you had kind of shared that nugget that oftentimes parents are trying to hide money, what money does, build different things from their kids, but you actually need to expose your kids to to money, to different concepts around finances, what have you. So it's something that we always kind of engage even at a young age with our kids. But I'll case in point, so our son, this happened about 2 years ago. He was like, Daddy, he said, if I clean my room for a week, can you give me $10? I was like, kind of high, but I'll say, you came to me, you take an initiative, I'll give you your $10. So the week go by, literally every day the room was clean. At the end of the week, he comes to me and said, Daddy, can I have my $10 now? I was like, Logan, I'm a man of my word, I'm gonna give you your $10. So I hand him a $10 bill. And he was like, Daddy, do you have 2 5s? I was like, I mean, it's $10, Logan. He was like, no, I need 2 5s. I need 2 5s. I was like, okay, let me see. So I got 2 5s. I handed it to him. I was like, here you go. He was like, thank you, Daddy. He slid $5 in his pocket. He runs downstairs. I'm like, what is he doing? So I follow him. He goes and gives his cousins the $5. He had set a deal up with his cousins. If they cleaned his room for a week, he would pay them $5. And his pocket, I was like, but again, I know part of that is us kind of talking about it, but the other part is just, God's kind of grace on his life, him just to his purpose, his fulfillment, if you will.
That is a dope. I don't know. Look, I thought you were gonna say he went downstairs and put the $5 savings. You're like, no, oh God, that's that does.
Yeah, I was floored, man.
All right, too. So King and I, we have an advisor that helps us with our money, right? We do the planning as it relates to like the strategy, but they assist in us putting that strategy and playing the right funds and so on and so forth. So our daughter just got a job. Our youngest daughter just got a job at the candy store. And our granddaughter got a job doing events. So we've had the appointment with my advisor with our youngest daughter, and she had been saving now. Well, she first you tell the story. You probably tell it better than me. How she was saving her money, like at what rate and all that.
Okay, so when she started saving, when she started getting her first checks, I told her, she asked me how much she could spend. So she did ask. And I said, well, Kai, go ahead, you can put half of it in your savings account, and the rest you can blow. You've been a good girl, you have fun, but you're gonna save some of that money, right? So she did that for a few paychecks. And then the next one, I said, Kai, how are you doing on your savings? Now, mind you, I'm on her checking account, so I know what she's doing, how she's doing. And so I said, well, how are you doing on your savings? She said, well, instead of the 50%, now I'm doing 40, 60 into my savings, 40 into check. And I said, okay, very good. So I said, okay, I didn't question her. I said, okay. So then later on, she asked me a question. She said, Mom, what do you think? What is stocks and bonds? And what is a IRA? And so we kind of had a little discussion in the car about, how Dad and I do it and all that good stuff. And then she said, well, I'm thinking about, I want to do that. And I said, okay. I said, well, what is your goal with doing that? And so she said, well, I want to be able to save for a house. And I think she said about retirement as well. I said, okay. So I said, well, who the best person to talk to about? And I said, well, you go and you talk to your daddy. Your daddy will set all that stuff up and he'll give you a better, he'll be able to elaborate better on, the percentages and what makes sense to put in, different accounts, and probably advise you to talk with our financial advisor. And so that's what she did.
And that's what I did. So now what we've done is we've established the accounts, and she's only 16. And stocks, some money into her IRA, and then some money into a money market just for cash. And then we projected it out at the average rate of return and say by the time you finish your because she wants to study architectural engineering and she's a junior. And that's a 5-year program. So I said, yeah, it's about 7 years. So based on average rate of return, you put this much to this account, you should see this much money approximately. And if you put this much in this account, you should see about this much money approximately. And then here's some things that you could do with those funds that can continue to put, make them to put that money to work. How you can further enslave that money. So I was thinking about the book Richest Man in Babylon. And how you make your money work, and then when your money bears interest or return, you didn't make that interest and return, you didn't reinvest it, thus making sort of the grandchildren of your money slaves as well.
Right.
We should do a video on the richest man in Babylon, just pull out some other points, that'd be a good one. So you made me think about that when your son was actually had an employee cleaning his room.
It feels good because when you include your children, you may not necessarily be talking to them directly, but they hear and they
see.
They're picking up. Mm-hmm.
They see. We have to do another one. So I know you guys have to go. You guys at the pumpkin patch, and I want you guys to tell me about your. I want Shavonna to tell us a little about her business, and then tell us a little bit about your business before we go, and how people can find you guys. And then you guys will bless us and come back again, and we can chat about how.
Hi, my name is D. Hughes, aka Wolf Knows VA Loans at Mortgage Group Financial, home of the no minimum credit score VA loan. I'm calling on all agents, you, the realtors who are on the front line. We're asking you to take the time. Look at all your clients, those who have been turned down by your primary lender. I ask that you give me a call because here at Mortgage Solutions, we believe our veterans, our active military personnel deserve a second look.
How we coach our children, because I'm going to have Kai and the financial advisor, and we're going to talk about how we structure her savings and put it on autopilot so she can just kind of like let it grow while she's in high school and all through college. So tell us about your business, Shavonna. You go first, ladies first.
Sure. So as Jonathan mentioned, I have a degree in accounting, and I always been a numbers person. And D, it was when we went to your financial class, and we sat there and we said, I don't think I can really do this. Like, this is just mind blowing to me. I love it. And so we started shortly after then, and then I guess based on kind of how we managed our money after we got the house and what I don't think I had real estate license, people started coming to me for help with their budget. And then him for home ownership. And we were like, okay, it's something there. And so fast forward probably about 2 years ago, I started my company, which was the Bougie Budget. But we've gone through some transition, and now it's called the Bougie Wealth Group. And so my goal is to help women, young to middle-aged women, as well as couples, live their desired lifestyle by helping them learn how to budget, by helping them to set smart financial goals, as well as build and sustain wealth. Just a little bit about my story. I come from a small county in North Carolina called Windsor, North Carolina. It's a key county, and in 2019, it was the poorest. And so I never thought that I would be anywhere than I am. And so what I like to tell people is that just because you didn't come from wealth doesn't mean that you can't be wealthy. You just have to learn the principle. You have to decide that you want to be wealthy over rich. And, living in the present moment. And so my big thing is sustaining that wealth. How do we sustain it? And so right now, I'm taking clients. I do have clients. I'm also going back to school to become a CFP, a certified financial planner, so that way I can, broaden the horizon and help people. I did write my first book. I have a step-by-step workbook that is out that can be found on my website, which is thebougiewellthgroup.com or Amazon. But I am a church girl down to my bone. And so I did write my first book. It came out this year. It is called I Am Too Blessed to Be Broke, Breaking the Curse in the Church. And it tells a lot about our story. It tells about the house buying process. and really, you know, breaking that poverty mindset and really people understanding with the steps of, hey, you know, money is not evil. We taught and we misquoted, you know, the scripture in Second Timothy that money is the root of all evil, but in fact, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. You know, it's our action towards money. And so it starts there telling you, hey, you know, you're not going to hell if you're a millionaire. Um, and so it gets into, once you know, understanding your mindset, really understand, you know, the principles according to the Bible of, you know, reaping and, you know, sowing, harvest, stewardship. And then it just gets you into more details about just exactly how to budget, those questions that you should be asking before, you know, you take on any debt, you know, setting goals as a couple, as well as, you know, with God, as well as, you know, just becoming financially fit. And so that's what we are working on now. And I'll let you go. I think that's enough about me.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
That's awesome. And I gotta get that book too. So you gotta send me the links so I get that book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm currently, as you know, doing real estate, broker with EXP Realtor. You can find me on Facebook at Jonathan Perkins Real Estate, Instagram as well, Jonathan Perkins Real Estate. And so I'm in the process now of you know, start my own firm. And that really kind of came from helping a lot of clients, you know, buying, selling home investors. You know, they were looking for additional services that, you know, I really couldn't provide because of you know, the brokers that I was a part of, but then also, you know, pursuing my general contractors to give me a little bit more bandwidth, you know, as a one-stop shop for a lot of clients that are looking to, you know, buy and sell, but, you know, looking for a building when it comes to new construction. And so that's where I've kind of been pivoting, like I said, for us, for our family, for our legacy, you know, it's on, you know, having that general contracts, I think is going to open up a lot of doors for a lot of opportunities when it comes to our personal portfolio, and then, you know, our business portfolio as well. So yeah, so I mean, the future is bright, it's exciting. You know, we're excited about, you know, the things to come. You know, we've obtained something, but you know, what I think what I love about both of us is still have a hunger. You know, I think at times, sometimes you kind of reach a certain point, a certain plateau, you know, you reach whatever it is, that six figures, you know, you reach that net million, if you will, and you're like, okay, I've done something, you know, I can kind of sit back and relax. But nah, man, you know, you got to kind of keep going, if you will, and keep building it, not for yourself, then for your children that are coming, you know, that are coming behind you. And as we know, with inflation, you know, things are not getting cheaper. So you know, you have to kind of have those, you know, those multiple streams coming in, if you will. We started doing have vending business as well that we don't really speak much to, but again, it's just, you know, additional streams, different things that we kind of have in place. So but yeah, so that's it for me.
That's awesome, man, because I think couples need to hear how other couples dream. Because I know on one segment that we did, one episode that we did, I talked about how when we had a little gathering at a family gathering, and I was just asking them, like, what adventures are you looking forward to? And no one really had the thing that they were really looking forward to. And I think it's important to have something that you're looking forward to.
Be able to dream out loud.
Dream out loud and then attach a timeline to it and make it a goal. You live one time.
One.
I don't know anyone that's, if they did, they got a place to take them people. They put you in a little, you know.
Right.
So, you come back as a bird, you can't talk, you can't tell, you're not gonna know. So you get one shot at this. And I want to get as much out of life as I can. When I go, I want to go on E. It's like getting the car and he's got a full tank of gas. You just told your car.
That's a great analogy.
Breaks down. Yes.
I want to leave on E, man. I want to, if I can't walk, I want to have climbed mountains and hiked trails and scuba dive, everything that I can do, so that when I can't hardly move, I'm like, well, hell, I need the rest. I've been going for 30 years. So I want to have some fun. We got to have you guys back.
Right.
I really enjoyed you guys. And we know some cool couples, don't we?
We do.
We had another couple on, and just ironically, just coincidence that I had met them. He had met the wife, and when he had a credit card company, she had met the wife. and that was the Priestess. And this is before they got married. We just filmed with them like a week ago, and they've been married now for 10 years. And they scaled up. It's a very similar couple, and they're both so young. You guys are so young. You guys only 35?
35.
The B was the B35.
Ooh, 35.
But
that's just enough. I go back and take down some of my old pictures because I was like, you perpetrate, you do not look like that anymore. My old Instagram picture, like, man, I do not have those cuts anymore. I went with it. I was like, damn, I wish I could go back to 35 again.
Gotta enjoy.
Back in the day, it was fast. Now I gotta put you on loose right here. So all this right here looks crazy, man. It is real. It is real. Well, thanks again. I know you guys want to take a break. I've probably been on here for an hour. And we gotta have you guys back. And the next time you gotta consider South Florida. We'll show you guys a great time.
Yeah. We're gonna make it down there.
Yeah, you guys decide to come down. Let us know.
Let us know. We're ready.
Yeah, we'll pick you up and take you. Have a great time. All right, guys. I'll give you a call tomorrow. We'll chat about it, and I'll send it to you when we're done.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, D.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, now. Hit the stop recording thing, Kiki. Is that how you do it? Oh, stop right there.